Somewhere in the dream realm, on the night before the biggest night of my older daughter's life, the same red telephone rang in two very different rooms. In the first room, all warmth, all golden light, smelling of coffee and good intentions, a man answered in a tuxedo. I should mention the tuxedo was worn wide open over a very loud Hawaiian shirt, because some disguises simply refuse to be disguised. Tonight he went by a code name, Agent Aloha of CHARM, the central headquarters for Allied reconnaissance and maneuvers. In the second room, cool and silver, lit only by starlight, a woman picked up the other line. Her agency was Frost. Her methods were precise. Her record was perfect. Her code name? That's classified, sweetheart. And the voice crackling on both phones at once, small, quick, and slightly muffled by what I can only assume was a cookie, belonged to the head of Mission Control. Agents. Nick Flick, age 8, spun slowly in a chair built for someone 4 times her size. We have a situation. I'm calling it Operation Starlight. Tonight, she said, the asset attends the Grand Starlight Gala. Chandeliers, a live band, 300 guests in their very best clothes. Your mission, get inside, stay invisible, and protect the asset at all costs. And who, said Agent Aloha, is the asset? Nick Flick pulled up the file. A single photograph filled both screens. A tall girl with a long dark braid and a quiet, brave smile. It was Ba. There was a silence on both lines then. The kind of silence that happens when a father realizes his high-value asset is wearing a corsage and has a 10 p.m. curfew. I'll handle it, said Agent Aloha, his voice returning with a defensive boom. A charm agent could charm his way into that ballroom with nothing but a smile and a firm handshake. A Frost agent, said the cool voice on the other line, is already inside. I am, at this moment, holding your invitation. He checked his pockets. His invitation was gone. Show off, he muttered. Amateur, she replied. And somewhere in the dark, I confess, I smiled. A ballroom that floated above the sleeping city. Chandeliers like upside-down fountains of light. A band playing something warm and golden. All brushed drums and one lazy, mellow trumpet. And down the great staircase came Ba. A gown the deep red of wine, her braid pinned up, her chin high. She walked with a poise she hadn't possessed that morning, steady and sure on the marble. On the comms, I heard the sharp, sudden hitch in a father's breath. I didn't tease him. My own was caught in my throat. Eyes on the asset, whispered Nick Flick over the comms. And wait, there is a boy. He crossed the floor toward Ba with a bouquet and a smile so smooth, so polished, and so impossibly confident that both agencies reacted in the exact same second. That smile is too perfect, said Agent Aloha, narrowing his eyes. Nobody is that charming. Trust me, I would know. Agreed, said Frost. He's the target. Move in. Nick Flick deployed the gadgets. There was a bow tie that doubled as a grappling hook, which Agent Aloha fired at the ceiling and used to swing dramatically behind a dessert table, knocking over precisely one tray of tiny sandwiches. There were exploding breath mints, which did not explode, but did taste, he reported, incredible. Frost, meanwhile, simply walked the room. She lifted a glass of sparkling water she had no intention of drinking, listened to 40 conversations at once, and learned the boy's entire life story before he had finished saying hello. Mission Control, she murmured. Report. Whose method is working better? Said Nick Flick, chewing. Yours. Definitely yours. Don't tell Agent Aloha. Mission Control, came the other voice, deeply scandalized. I heard that. Gotta go. Snack break. Mission Control out. The two agents closed in on the target from opposite ends of the ballroom, ready for a high-stakes confrontation. And then the boy with the too perfect smile did something neither agent had planned for. He tripped. He caught himself on a chair, knocked the chair into a waiter, and turned the exact shade of a ripe tomato. The smooth confidence cracked clean down the middle, and underneath was just a nervous kid who had practiced his hello in a mirror, and forgotten every word of it the second it mattered. "He's not a threat," said Agent Aloha. "He's terrified." Before either agent could decide what a professional does in a situation like this, Ba handled it herself. She laughed, kindly, not cruelly. She bent and picked up the fallen flowers, and she said something to the boy that brought his shoulders down from around his ears. She did not need a plan, or a gadget, or a single agent in the entire dream. She set him at ease in 4 seconds flat. She had it. She'd always had it. Up on the balcony, the 2 greatest rival agents in the dream realm stood side by side, and for once, neither of them said a single clever thing. The band slid into something slower. Ba and the nervous boy began, very carefully, to dance. "We should report in," said Big Daddy quietly. He did not reach for his comms. There was never a threat at the Grand Starlight Gala. No target, no mission. There were only 2 people who had found a side door into a night they weren't invited to, a way to stand in the same room as their daughter while she did something brave. They didn't need to save her. They just needed to see her. And 2 spies who had spent the entire night trying to outdo one another stood perfectly still and perfectly together and watched their daughter dance. For just a moment, 1 breath, Ba looked up. Her eyes swept the balcony where 2 shadows stood. She could not have seen them. They were the best in the business, after all. But something crossed her face anyway. A small, certain smile, the kind you give when you suddenly feel held. She lifted her hand. Not quite a wave. And then, the way dreams always do, it began to come apart, gently, into morning. Ba woke in her quiet room on the morning of the biggest night of her real life. She did not remember the ballroom, but there on her nightstand, where nothing had been the night before, sat a small white card. No name, just 6 words in careful, spy movie capital letters. You were always the best agent. And in the very next room, a small girl in pajamas was already awake, holding a tiny radio earpiece she did not remember owning, grinning at a little red toy telephone, and lifting it, very slowly, off the hook. To be continued.